Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Kraska, and with me, as always, is... Okay, I guess I'm alone today. And not with me, as always, is Khalid Hussein. He, and I won't take too many shots at him right now. He is just not here for this intro. He is in for most of this podcast. This is what you might say is a kind of a bonus episode to our XENOMANIA series. We've wrapped up the 6 films in the main franchise. Maybe we'll come back to it when the future Fede Alvarez movie comes out, or the series, the Noah Hawley series. But as it stands right now, we're done with the movies. So we are doing a special episode kind of digging into the extended universe of the Alien franchise, the books, blah, 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 comics, all those other things. And in doing this, we got to interview Shiromi Arserio, who is an audiobook narrator, avid Alien fan as well. An award-winning audiobook narrator, I might add, who narrates several of the audiobooks in the Alien franchise novels recently. She's done Into Charybdis. She did Colony War. She did the most recent book, Enemy of My Enemy. So it was really exciting to chat with her. But before we dig into that and get to the interview, I thought it might be interesting just to kind of give a brief outline of what kind of the extended universe looks like for the Alien franchise and kind of where it's coming from. So outside of the films, we have board games, we have a tabletop role-playing game, we have video games, comic books, audio dramas, and of course the novels. Previously, the Aliens EU was in the hands of the publisher Bantam Books and Dark Horse Comics. Some of these stories have since been contradicted by the newer canon, but there's certainly value to a lot of them. There's some interesting stuff about what they thought the space jockeys were before Prometheus came along. But, you know, that's since not canon anymore in a sense, but they're still fascinating. There was a whole series of comics following Hicks and Newt after the Aliens film ultimately had to be rewrapped into something different after Alien 3 came out, of course. The characters were changed to Wilkes and Billy and was republished that way. So this specific book begins with the Earth Hive. There's a comic and there's also a novelization by Steve Perry, somebody who did quite a few of those books back in those days. A comic series a bit more recent that's been instrumental in shaping the current state of the EU is Aliens Defiance, which is written by Brian Wood. Defiance introduces the character of Zula Hendricks, who you may have heard us talk about in our first XENOMANIA episode with Philippa Ballantyne, who in her novel. Zula Hendricks is a current colonial marine who ended up facing off with the xenomorphs. She's since become kind of a mainstay in the comics and novels and serves as kind of a connective tissue between many of those works. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this other piece. Big tie-in piece is the game Alien Isolation, which serves as kind of a in-between-quel, you might say, not sequel, I don't know, between Alien and Aliens. People tend to kind of consider it to be right up there with the original movies in terms of quality. It tells the story of Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, seeking answers for her mother's disappearance and finding herself trapped aboard an alien-infested space station. It's paved the way for more video games since then. It's tend to be hailed as having a really great atmosphere, capturing the feel of the movies. The most recent game that came out is a new one called Aliens Dark Descent. Just came out this year, 2023. Now, newer comics are now being published through Marvel. Newer novels are starting to follow a more cohesive canon, as we kind of get into during this interview with Shiromi. The story that we kind of discuss starts with Alex White's novel Alien: The Cold Forge, and it's kind of starting to more so introduce the geopolitics of the universe, like the different political factions, the different companies that might be in conflict with Weyland-Yutani, seeing conflict brewing between these factions and colonies and corporations. We're also seeing more work to tie in the EU media into Prometheus and Covenant, which with use of the black goo is in experimentation and even as weapons on a planetary scale. So it's really interesting to kind of see where the EU has gone. So if you're interested in digging into that, I did put some links in the show notes for some of those books, comics, and the game that I mentioned, of course. Now, just a few logistical pieces before we head into the interview itself. I did want to give a shout out to our Patreon, and we did get our first patron. So shout out and super duper thank you to Luke Johnson, who has been a fan and friend of the podcast for a long time and just a important person in our lives. He guested on one of our episodes on Star Wars, talking about the Rancor way back on a Star Wars Day episode, which was super fun. And if you haven't checked that out, I would highly recommend it. So thank you to Luke Johnson for being our very first patron. And if you are interested in supporting our show in any way, supporting what we're able to try to do here, I know we're pretty modest. We don't have ads or anything, but anything that you'd be willing to help out with would be absolutely huge for us. And we would owe you a debt of gratitude. We're hoping to get more interesting things up on the Patreon. We're hoping to record some different kinds of maybe smaller episodes. We'll get back to you on that, TBD. But right now, it's just the dollar level, and it's just a thank you at this point, a heartfelt thank you on air. So thank you again to Luke Johnson for being our first patron. Another small piece of logistical items. I don't know. Logistics? Yeah, logistics. That's the word I'm looking for. Another small piece of logistics. Shiromi did reach out to me after this interview just to let me know she had a small misspoke in a small way, where she was talking about the Aliens card game and mentioned that it was created by the same person who created Gloomhaven. That turned out to be incorrect, and she mentioned that she found out later the true fact is even more interesting in that the person who created the Aliens card game is one of the same people that created the Lifeform unofficial Alien game that we do talk about on the episode. So that is pretty interesting. Anyway, that being said, let's move on to our interview. Shiromi Arserio, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Excited to talk about one of my favorite franchises.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about it. I'm going to admit this. You've been in my ear like a lot in the past couple of weeks because I've been listening to your Into Charybdis narration, and I also found your Loki's Ring narration, which I've actually really been enjoying. Not alien related, but so I've been listening to you quite a bit.
Great book.
Yeah, I'm really liking it so far. I'm only a little ways into it, but it's really cool.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, for anyone just jumping in, are an award-winning audiobook narrator and voice actor, and you have, I think, Khalid, you might have had this question down, but I just wanted to get out of the way right now. But how many audiobooks have you done so far?
Close to 250. Yeah.
250. Wow. Yeah. I think I lowballed it. I was like, you're close to 200 in my question, but
yeah, I there is stuff that's not on Audible, and then I have a pseudonym for the naughty titles. So
exciting. Yeah. Okay.
Impressive, prolific.
Indeed. Well, let's just jump in. So I got a couple new guest questions for people who haven't been on the podcast before, and sounds like you've been listening, and I sent those to you, so you have some thoughts already. First question: out of all of pop culture, that could be books, movies, TV show, what's your favorite monster? And if it's not the same, what would you consider to be the scariest?
Okay, it's not the same. I'm going to be subversive here. For my favorite monster, I love Jim Henson's Creatures of Puppetry. So for me, it's Ludo from The Labyrinth.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah, he's so big. You expect him to be this monster, and instead he wants friends, and he's a big old fraidy cat. And plus just the whole puppetry. I mean, 3 people to animate him. It's just incredible.
I had to look him up. Labyrinth is a blind spot for me, but that's a good choice.
Kind of reminds me Labyrinth on the pod.
Reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are.
That's exactly where they got it from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my second answer will be hands down The Thing. From John Carpenter's The Thing. It just, for one thing, I watched it at a really young age. Just a small part of it, just the bit where where it's penned in with the dogs and it starts transforming.
Ooh, it's a rough one to watch as a kid.
That scarred me for life. I didn't properly watch the movie until I was 30, and even then, it was just like I was just covering my face the entire time. I keep thinking, why is it so freaky for me? And I think for me, unlike something like a xenomorph where it has, it looks like something, the thing doesn't actually really look like anything. It's made up of just various, it's an amalgamation of body parts, and I think my brain just can't make sense of it, you know? So,
It's
yeah.
undefined and more scary in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So given that it scares you, did you like the movie though?
I did like the movie, but
Okay.
again, it did scare me, and
Yeah.
it's still not one that I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Not just
That
thrown
bit of
on for
pop
funsies.
culture is yeah. I checked off that bit of pop culture, but I don't need to watch it again.
It's a little too
Understandable.
effective.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
understandable. But yeah, good answers. Good answers. Question number 2 for you is what do you consider to be like on your geek card? So what do you find yourself to be most geeky about that you just like go down the rabbit hole? You could talk for hours or days on it.
2 things.
Mhm.
Anime is a big one for me
Hmm.
nowadays. Like, I won't pretend that I have nearly the breadth of knowledge of anime as, you know, a lot of people, particularly younger people, because it's really only a recent thing for me, but I do watch a lot of anime, and they
Hmm.
tend to be dark too.
Yeah.
Even the ones that I think, "Oh, that looks light and fun." No, no. No, it's not. It's dark. There's death. There's people. Yeah. So that and board games. I'm a big board gamer too. Yeah.
And any that you're particularly into right now?
So my two, they probably share my number one spots for board games, and they're both trader games. They're both very similar in that respect. One is the Battlestar Galactica, the board game, which has
Ooh.
been it's been reprinted. It's out of print now, and it's been
Mhm.
reprinted as an Arkham game, as an Arkham horror game. But
Yeah.
it's to me, it's the best distillation of an IP and taking that whole theme and putting it into a board game. So you find out halfway through that you're a Cylon, or you know, or you could be a
Oh.
Cylon at the beginning. So you
Yeah.
could find out halfway through, and it really just really sticks to the theme there very well. And then the other one is Nemesis, which is
Hmm.
an aliens type alien/aliens type board game. It's heavily inspired, pretty much walks right up to that line before they can get sued kind of thing. But it's I mean, like, literally, like, you get a personal objective and a corporate objective that you get to choose
Oh.
from.
Yeah.
So,
That's really
yeah.
interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
looking it up right now. I can see the visuals definitely are a little alien-esque, but
Right?
it looks like a lot of fun though. It looks like it
It
got a lot of good reviews.
is.
Oh,
It
and the
is, and they're even
figurines with it.
doing yeah, they've got some really good alien type
Yeah.
figurines in it, and they've got a new Kickstarter, coming up for an expansion that I believe is supposed to be like their take on Aliens with
Oh.
Marines of some sort in there, so I'm interested. We'll
Okay,
see.
so they're following the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. We'll have to check that one out for sure. Board games and anime. So you mentioned some of your favorite board games. What like is there a particular anime that you're into right now?
Oh, actually, right now, I haven't been watching any anime lately.
Yeah.
That's really weird to say. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Well, I keep waiting, like, I'm waiting for the dubs of I'm a dub person because 'cause I'm a voice
Hmm.
actor, and the dubs are pretty
Mm.
decent.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for a couple of dubs to come out, like, my not My Hero, Attack on Titan,
Oh
the
yeah.
dub is taking frustratingly long, even though it's the final season, and the sub has been out for a while.
Hmm.
And then another one, Vinland Saga, for some reason, there's 2 different dubs, and I've been watching the Netflix one, and Netflix just released the first, like, 10 episodes or so and then quit. So,
Oh, that's
Wow.
frustrating.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
as a voice actor, what is the benefits of dub over sub? Because we usually hear it the other way, subs over dubs. So I want to hear the other opinion.
Less reading, because I tend to watch them at nighttime. So
Mm.
for me, I'm not gonna be as into reading it. Otherwise, I'm fine any other time of day, but usually I'm watching them at night. So for me, it's the reading, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Much better than, I'll say, live action dubs. Those are
Yeah,
so
that can be rough. That can be rough.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can see that.
I'm watching 1899. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's this it's a German
Netflix.
European production, and it's set on a ship, and there are characters from all different countries. And when we turned it on, it immediately went to the dub, which was very confusing. So some of the characters had English accents and looked totally fine, but then everybody else had American accents and were way off. And in fact, the captain would weirdly switch between like a really good dub to really bad dub. And we found out that, it's supposed to be in different languages. And the captain actually speaks German to his crew and English to all the passengers. And that's why the dub was so wildly off.
So it's like 2 separate English dubs for the same character. That's so weird.
That would confuse me so much.
Yeah, that seems so confusing. Yeah. Yeah. We discovered on a podcast not too long ago where that was, where was it from? Was it from Iceland? Yeah, from Iceland. And that Netflix just automatically chooses dubs. And then we learned like, okay, how do we switch this off? And that was key for that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, live action's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for answering those first couple questions, and thank you for joining us. I didn't get a chance to say that yet. It's really exciting to have you on with us. Given that we're here talking about XENOMANIA, that's still part of the overarching theme of our episodes lately. I wanted to start off by asking you, what's your history with the Alien franchise? When did you come to it?
Oh, very long time ago. So to just get it out there, Aliens is my all-time favorite movie. I liken it to, how, a lot of people of a certain age, Star Wars was their thing. Aliens was mine. I watched it. I was 8 years old when I watched it. Probably way too young. And I loved it from the get-go. I mean, it was scary, but, also you had the Marines and there was a kid in there and you had Sigourney Weaver. So it was definitely my movie growing up. Weirdly, I watched Alien after Aliens, which I don't think is the best thing to do because it was a couple of years later. So I don't think I really appreciated it because I already knew the things that might surprise you. I knew that aliens came out of your chest, and I knew that Sigourney Weaver was going to, live.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big spoiler. That's interesting. Yeah. I came to the Alien franchise with Prometheus. That was the first one I saw out of all of them. So I think it was a little different when I finally went back and watched Alien to Aliens. Like there wasn't as much to spoil for myself since Prometheus is kind of a half sequel or prequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, no, okay. So you're an Aliens fan. That's your the one you
jam.
go to bat for.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
I mean, literally, I'm not kidding. My husband and I, like on an almost daily basis, will quote from the movie. Like the other week, here's an example. The other week, our internet went out, and we eventually discovered the reason for it was a wasp nest. And the wasps, like when they're making their nest, they use saliva, and their saliva can eat through the fiber in your internet.
What?
So yeah, it's crazy. So immediately I'm just like, what do you mean they cut the internet? How could they cut the internet? They're just animals. Yeah, so
that's nice. It's funny how many times dialogue from Aliens is applicable to real life.
Yes. So true.
Okay. Pivoting a little bit to your professional career, I am also curious, how did you get into voice acting and narrating?
I kind of fell into the voice acting. I was acting before that, and honestly, it's funny. I came in to meet with somebody about their YouTube series to come in as a writer, but then he heard that I was an actor, and he was like, "Hey, I'm also doing this documentary, supposed to be doing the audio for it, and we're looking to replace the voice. Do you want to have a whack at it? So I did, and they liked me and kept hiring me back. As to the audiobooks, I always knew that was something. I didn't know that was a career field that you could do. But, as I was getting into voiceover, that was at that time, ACX, the audiobook creative exchange that Audible has, opened up, where it let authors be able to easily put their books up for audition, and narrators, people actually, it was a gateway for a lot of narrators like me.
Oh, so you would just like submit like a sample of like somebody's book, and then they would like just pick from a pool of people that submitted on there?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's super fascinating. And I guess in that world, just a follow up, are there any audiobooks that you've done that aren't a part of the Alien franchise that you would recommend to fans?
Gosh, yeah, that's a really good question. It kind of depends on what your thing is. I mean, I guess if sci-fi is your jam, yeah, Loki's Ring, that's actually a really good one. I mean, it's not really like Aliens. I'm sorry.
It does have a lot of AI stuff, which is interesting, though.
It does, yeah.
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 Kind of connects in that regard. If you like space opera stuff, you'd like Loki's Ring for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's 2 recommendations. Can you give us like a peek behind the curtain into your process, how the sausage would get made, so to speak? How do you like that was for Joe.
Khalid loves to talk about sausage.
I do love to talk about sausage. That is canon now.
Yep.
But Shiromi, how do you prepare, and what kind of like notes do you take when you've got a new gig lined up? Let's say for voice acting, like what's that process like?
It'll be different for voice acting than audiobooks just because of the length involved. Yeah, I don't for voice acting, God, if I'm being perfectly honest with voice acting, a lot of it is pretty intuitive. It sounds bad to say that, but I do a lot of like, corporate narrations for like companies like Microsoft and stuff. So a lot of that's pretty intuitive at this point. I mean, for a video game, let's say, then yes, there'll be preparation because I'll be wanting to play about with voices. And a lot of it is like in your head too. Like, where does the scene take place? What happened just before? What's the distance between, you and the person that you're speaking to? And what's your motivation? That's a cheesy one, but yeah, what is motivating you? What's the subtext?
Sure.
And there's a little bit of crossover there with audiobooks. With audiobooks, which is most of what I do nowadays, to be honest, I will read the book ahead of time. There's this old joke that somebody didn't read the book ahead of time and found out halfway through that a character had an accent. Nobody wants that.
That's fair. I can see how preparation would help in that case.
Yeah, so I'll read the book ahead of time. I'll be making notes for like pronunciations for sure, especially if I need to go back to an author or the publisher with a list. I'll be sort of thinking about voices usually. For a really well-written character, the voice will just jump out at you, and I'll just be like, "Oh, like so-and-so." And I'll just jot down a little note or make a little audio clip of how I want that voice to sound. I'll also be paying attention again to the characters, making notes on who the characters are and how they should sound. Are there any specific descriptions? Does the guy have a gravelly voice or a deep tenor? That kind of thing. And then there's, other stuff like maybe I want to research the background. I did a book written by Emma Donoghue called Learned by Love, which was about a real life person called Anne Lister. She's considered the modern lesbian, so to speak. but she's a real life figure. So I wanted to research her life and research the time period that the book is set and what she was up against as a woman and, that kind of thing. So yeah, it kind of varies. For an alien book, it was definitely watching some aliens. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. You mentioned a little bit about sometimes like the level of the writing of the character makes it clear to you exactly which direction to go with it. You also mentioned that you might have notes for the publisher or the author. Do you ever have like a relationship with the author when you're doing the narration for audiobooks?
Um, well, I work with indie authors and with publishers. So with indie authors, yes. With publishers, generally not. They generally they want to be in the middle. They don't want you to contact the author directly. So very often, I may not develop a relationship with that author until after the first book comes out or something. Like, I never like Alex White, any of the alien authors, I didn't know any of them beforehand. Now, Alex White and I follow each other. We talk to each other, but, before that, no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting. So
it's
like
kind of weird. I don't
publishers
know.
kind of like create a wall then, huh? Like the publishing company, like
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know why, honestly. But
Huh.
and sometimes you want it. Time is of the essence, and you need to get around that wall. And you might, you know, send a direct message. But got to keep that on the DL, though. We don't generally
Industry secrets.
go into your
Yeah.
publisher. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But sometimes you're like, how do you pronounce this thing? I have no clue or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
this
And
name,
Gotta
what did
be
you
tough
envision
with
this name to be?
yeah, with something like sci-fi, like there's got to
Yeah.
be like some niche questions you're asking at times.
Yeah, like a language they created or something. Wow.
Wow.
I do a lot of fantasy.
Oh, even more language stuff there.
So even more
Yeah.
language stuff there. I
Yeah.
did a book. I'm doing a book. I'm finishing up the final book now. It's a backlist title series that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. 7 books. I mean, they're big, fat books. Think Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
So many characters. I think I did 285 voices for it, and the
Wow.
pronunciation list had to have been easily 600 words by the end of the series.
Goodness.
Wow. My God.
So that's been interesting.
I feel like I had this question listed later, but this kind of ties into what you're saying. Like your website says you're an accent chameleon, and I feel like I've kind of noticed this too. Like your accent work is like super strong, and I'm continually impressed. Like listening to like just seamlessly switching between various accents. Like how did that become kind of like a niche for you?
Thank you. Because I'm from England originally, and I've lived in the States now for over 20 years. So my natural accent's kind of weird anyway. And I was always doing the American accent anyway growing up. American and Australian, those two are like the ones that I can easily switch on or switch off. So that became something, especially because I live in the States. So, I need to have that flexibility because otherwise, most of the English titles are probably going to go to English narrators or English voice artists in England. So it was sort of a by necessity thing, but it's something I've also done all along. But that's definitely my thing. I will say, in Loki's Ring, that was funny. I did get to have a little bit of a back and forth with the author
Oh, that's
regarding
good.
pronunciations and regarding the accents and everything. Suddenly I was like, okay, I can do it. Wait, British Nigerian voice. Okay. All right. Okay. For the computer. So every now and again, there's one where I'm like, okay, I got to sit
Gotta look
down and
into
learn this one. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. I suppose since this is a Xenomania series, we should probably talk about some alien stuff, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, I think I found that you narrated like 3 Alien audiobooks. I got Into Charybdis, Colony War, and the new one, Enemy of My Enemy. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. And I did a short story in an
Oh,
AVP collection.
oh, cool. Do you remember what the collection was called?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
There's a couple, so I'll look into it maybe. So I was kind of curious, like, so we like had this like career in like audiobook narrating and voice acting. Like, being a fan of Aliens, were you seeking out to be part of the franchise, or was it like a happy coincidence?
It was a happy coincidence. Very
Love
happy
that.
coincidence. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I knew that they had that stuff out there.
Mhm.
My big, like, outside of the movies, love of Aliens comes from the Audible Studios audio dramas that they put
Mm.
out. They're full production audio dramas. They've got a full cast. They've got sound effects. I mean, they're really good. But they're also very often, I mean, I think they're entirely recorded in England, and they have a
Mm.
celebrity cast. So it's like, well, that's just never gonna happen. So yeah, it was very much a happy coincidence that this came along.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been seeing some of those like full cast recordings. I have not dipped into those yet. I've been just doing the audiobooks themselves, but those seem really cool.
Yeah, they are really cool. And for some of them, I mean, they got Michael Biehn and
Wow.
Lance Henriksen, and I forget the name of the actor that plays Gorman, but he plays himself. He plays
Hmm.
Gorman
Yeah.
in one of them, which I will say is a good thing and a bad thing because it's cool that they got him, but his voice has aged up so much that he doesn't actually sound like Gorman. But yeah,
Yeah, that's tough. He's probably playing a younger version anyway, too.
yeah,
It's kind of awkward. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's, I've been just listening to Into Charybdis. I think you had, this is not, I'm going a little off script here, but you must have had to read or have to done some research into, I think Cold Forge comes right before Into Charybdis. Did you read that one at all?
I didn't. I didn't
Oh,
realize
no.
that how connected they were or
Oh,
weren't.
neither did I.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And actually I've read Alex's, some of Alex's other books, so I really
Hmm.
do need to go back and read that one, but I didn't. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
just me jumping right in there.
Oh, so honestly, like I've been in doing this series, like I've always loved Alien. I'm like you, Shiromi. I watched it when I was like 7 or 8 too. Like started back then. I've loved it for a long time, but this is like the deepest dive I've ever done into it before for this podcast. And I didn't really know much about the extended universe, so our first Xenomania, we interviewed Philip Ballantyne, who wrote Inferno's Forge. So I actually got that one and started reading that one. I'm like, there's some things I'm not quite sure what's going on in some of these parts. So I'm like, did some research. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to go back, and then I found, and I was like, as for reaching out to you, I was like, I'm gonna listen to Into Charybdis, and then I was looking online. Wait, people are saying that's a follow up to something else. I'm like going backwards in my Alien reading. So, but it's kind of a fun journey to I've always been like a Star Trek fan, so I'm like I eat up the EU and like extra canon, like all this extra like discourse about stuff. So I'm like really loving just learning more about it. But I'm with you. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not know. I haven't read Cold Forge yet myself. I know everyone says it's great, but I gotta read
Side
it.
note, are you a DS9 fan?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Alex White's
I know they have a book, recent DS9 novel, right?
yeah, came out
Yeah,
last year, I think.
I haven't read that one, but I'm really excited about that. Yeah. Did you read it? Did you narrate
Yes.
that? Oh, you
No,
did?
I didn't. No, I did
Oh.
not narrate that. I wish. And in fact, I think they got a guy to narrate it, which I thought was really weird
Oh,
because it's
it's like a
about
Dak story.
Qadir. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But no, I read it. It was, yeah, definitely recommend it.
Okay. I gotta definitely get that one on the top of the list here. All right.
All right, Shromi. Bringing it back to Alien a little bit. Of the 3 Alien books that you did, not the AVP ones that you mentioned, but like the 3 that Joe had just mentioned, which one would you say was your favorite to work on and why?
Oh gosh, that's really. I mean, I'm gonna go with Into Charybdis because it was the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just the pure excitement and joy factor of getting to be involved in the Alien franchise in any way, shape, or form. For sure, yeah. And it's such a really good and well-written book. I will say Colony Wars certainly has a scene in it that is incredibly memorable, and it's not spoilery, I don't think, to say that I get to sing "God Save the Queen," which I've never done before. Anyway, being a British citizen, I've never actually had the need to do that. I got to sing "God Save the Queen" while a chest burster is bursting out of somebody.
That's something.
Yep. I believe he's giving birth to an alien queen, but don't quote me on that.
Very specific bucket list item there.
Wow. That's exciting. The newest one, Enemy of My Enemy, that just came out, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I am quite fond of that one too. I liked that one. The thing I really liked about that one, it's going to sound weird to say, I don't know if Mary San Giovanni has like family members that are in the military or anything, but it really felt very real in that respect in terms of like the soldiers getting tired and things like that. You know, the sheer toll that it takes to be on alert and running away from xenomorphs. You really felt that in a really visceral way, I felt.
Oh, cool. I gotta add that one to the list too. So I'm kind of curious. I'm like myself dipping my toes into the EU franchise here and like learning a little bit about the world that's been kind of created. You must have, I'm guessing you probably had to do pretty extensive research into some of this stuff, because like the Colony War specifically starts to bring in like geopolitical conflict and like all these different like I don't know, let's say global, but more like galactic factions of humans and how they're kind of against each other. Like what, I guess our experience with the films, mostly with the alien films, like they're generally small scale, personal, like the company is this overarching bad, but they're like within one crew. And this is kind of something that's taking it to this like really big, more like macro level storytelling of the universe, something that generally novels can tend to do better sometimes. But what do you think, as kind of a fan of those first couple movies, for sure, what do you think about that kind of direction for the franchise, and how is that like research like for you?
It definitely threw me for a loop. And I'm fully going to admit this. Like, it took me a minute to grok, like, oh, the black goo. Oh yeah, from Prometheus. Okay. Making those connections. And some of the stuff I sort of vaguely heard, like I think maybe so there's an Alien 3 full cast recording, which is based on a script of Alien 3, but not Alien 3 the movie.
Oh, the unused script, the William Gibson one, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
the William Gibson one. And so I think they like mention a few things there, like the UPP. So I kind of heard some of this stuff, but diving into it, like you said, with Colony War, there was a lot I definitely had to research. Zula Hendricks, you know, suddenly she's important. And Davis, I looked that up. In the end, I decided not to. I was like, should I use a voice that sounds like Davis as he's depicted in the comic books? But I felt like that might be a little too strange. But yeah, there's a lot there. It was interesting. I mean, I think it's a good thing to expand. I mean, the storytelling. I mean, how often can you really tell the same sort of story? It has to expand, I feel like. I will say I'm pretty excited. I'm biased because I've actually narrated one of Noah Hawley's books, but I'm really excited about Noah Hawley's take. His upcoming Alien series. Mostly because it's him. Because I know that mind, seeing what he did with Fargo, and I'm blanking on the other series that he has that's really out there.
Legion.
Yes, thank you, Legion.
Oh yeah.
That show is just completely out there. So I know that he'll definitely take things in a new direction. And I think it's necessary.
Yeah. If he comes up with anything as like visually interesting as psychic dance battles, I will be right there on opening night.
Yeah.
Which Noah Hawley book did you narrate?
Anthem, his most recent one.
Oh, cool. I
Yeah.
haven't read that one. I read the one before that. I think is Before the Fall is what it's called or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a good writer.
Yeah. It's dark. It's really dark. I will say that. But
well, that I guess that leads me into my final question. Are you working on anything right now? I mean, it sounds like you finished the Noah Hawley book, but like, what's next for you? What is down the pipeline?
So yeah, I'm currently wrapping up the 90s series that I was telling about. Crown of Stars is the name of the series. The final book is also called Crown of Stars by Kate Elliott. It is, it's 7 books, and I feel like we're finally coming to the end. Like I said, there was 285 characters in there. Actually, that was just in one book, so there's probably more than that. But I feel like it's actually finally coming to an end. Like I just recorded today, and a major character who's been like a villain since the first book finally is dead. I'm really excited. I feel like, okay, we're almost there.
It's got to be rewarding and fun.
Yeah. A little sad, but
I'm going to ask you a couple more quick things about the Alien books, but then I wanted to dive into some other EU topics that you sent me. But just from a general sense, having like narrated so many of the these Alien novels at this point, and being a fan of those original movies, what do you think? What elements do you think make up a good Alien story at this point?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question.
I think it is too. I feel like I think about it and I don't know the answer myself.
Yeah. I don't know.
Workers' rights.
Yes. I mean, you have to have the evil corporation. I was thinking that is one of the things that makes a good Alien story is that the human folly, you're not just running away from this alien, but you've also got, humans that are screwing each other over. And especially evil corporations. I really think, honestly, that Ridley Scott was very prescient with that. Between Alien and Blade Runner, just that whole corporations are evil thing.
Yeah, it's
very prescient.
Yeah, it's cool to go back and watch those and just see like, yes, this is 100% poignant still. Is that, I mean, cool. I don't know if cool is the right word, but
yeah, more sad.
It's so cool to bet against humanity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so much fun.
But no, I mean, I know the spirit of what you're getting at.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's good. But so you mentioned Zula Hendricks as a character that I've come across in the novels, and I had to like dig in and do like research into who that character was. Did you get a chance to read some of the comics then?
I haven't read any of the comics, so it was all Wikipedia. Just all of the wiki site, which there is a lot of information about it. I don't know how long her comic run was, but she's a big part of the story.
Yeah, she really is.
To be honest, I hadn't heard of until Inferno's Fall either. So yeah.
Inferno's Fall is not like, she's not the main character, but the chapters that feature her, I was like, I feel like I need to know who this is. Like there's something I'm missing here, and that's what kind of cued me in. But I did a little bit of research, and I think she's in like 3 like comics like specific series that have been collected in trade paperbacks. But then she made the jump to novels and has kind of been like of a connective tissue between all of them, like kind of the Nick Fury of Aliens in a sense.
Yeah. I know she's in the Alien Isolation novel, because I did listen to that one.
Oh yeah,
my friend actually rates that one. Yeah.
Oh, who's that?
Sarah Mola Christensen.
Okay, we'll have to check that. I just bought the physical book of that, so maybe I'll have to do the audiobook version too. That'd be fun. Okay, so I don't know if this is something as a narrator or book reader, what you prefer to do. Sometimes one thing that I do is I actually like to have the audiobook and the physical book, and I like read a couple chapters and then just like fast forward to that chapter if I'm like going somewhere else and like go back and forth. Is that weird, or do people do that?
No, a lot of people do that. I mean, they literally have something called Whisper Sync to sync the text with the audio.
Whispers. Oh my gosh! I suppose.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, like I suppose you could just read it as you're listening to, like just watch. Oh yeah.
Wait, so
Cool.
sometimes you'll read it along with the
Well,
audiobook
it's more
I
for
playing?
haven't
just
done that,
picking
but
it up, but
yeah.
it's more for like going back and forth in between. But
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're
yeah,
sometimes you'll read it, sometimes you'll have the audiobook play.
yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah.
That doesn't sound so crazy.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like doing that. It's fun. It kind of sometimes helps to like, I don't know, if depending if it's like a in-depth sci-fi or fantasy, like you get some of those voices if there's a ton of voices, you know.
That's true.
Somebody who's more competent than me has come up with those voices.
Yeah, I definitely find that certain books, I mean, I'm more of a reader than an audiobook person, mostly because, I mean, I work from home, so I don't really
Mhm.
have as much opportunities to listen to audiobooks. Um, but there's definitely some books that just really lend themselves to audio because they're really dense, and you need a narrator to help lead you down and explain the world to you
For
and things
sure.
like that.
For
Yeah.
sure. So you sent me in an email a couple ideas that you had when we kind of said we're talking about the Alien EU or extended universe and stuff, and so I wanted to ask you about these things. So, the Alien War attraction about 10 years ago, you said. Can you tell me more about that?
So Alien War was actually an attraction back in 1993, I think, is when
Oh
it
wow.
opened in England. It was only open for a few years. I went to it in 93, shortly after it opened. Um, I've never done Galaxy's Edge, so I don't know if it's
Mhm.
similar. You said you're a Star Trek guy. I don't know if you ever did the Star Trek Experience in Vegas. I don't even know how
Did
long that
not
was
do that at the
for.
time. Yeah.
That's the closest I've seen to that,
Hmm.
where you're just literally immersed in the alien in a universe, in a franchise universe. So you're just on a tour of a Weyland-Yutani facility. There, are face huggers and jaws, and you're being led around by Xenomorph, by a colonial marine. That would be a different story.
Right.
Um, being led around by a colonial marine, and then of course the Xenomorph, breaks in, and red lights start blaring, and you're trying to just run for your life. And actually, I will say that in Alien War, you actually are running away from the Xenomorph at points. Um, which it was very, very unique. They used they had props from the movies for sure. I don't know if it was solely at the end, because at the end there was like a little museum-y section that you could check out, but
Hmm.
they also had some really talented set dressers who worked at Pinewood. So you got to sit in what felt like a drop ship, and it was a truly unique experience. And they'll even,
Wow.
like, occasionally, like, have a xenomorph snatch somebody. Uh, I went with my sister, and she had, like, a little bag with her, like a plastic bag from a store, and one of the xenomorphs, like, snatched her bag. So at the end, we were like, "We need to get her bag back," and they were like they started to hand her a flashlight and be like, "Okay, you can go back in there if you." They're
Oh
like, "No,
wow.
we're kidding, we're gonna go
Oh
and
wow.
get it for you."
My
Um, and
gosh.
supposedly in talking to the guys that ran the, Alien War, I spoke to them about 10 years ago. Um, they even had, like, occasionally a predator just show up just to,
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
surprise people. But yeah, I only did it one time. It was one of those things where we kept going, "Oh, we need to go back, we need to go back," and then it closed. The location where it was at in London flooded, so they had
Mm.
to, pack up. I guess have done they switched to the Alien Wars title, and they started doing little smaller ones around the country in Scotland and elsewhere. And I wanna say that I'd heard most recently that they were going to do something for London Film and Comic Con this year, but I haven't seen
Hmm.
anything more in that regard. But yeah,
Okay.
it was a really definitely unique experience. And they had at the time that they opened, they had the full blessing from 20th Century Fox. They had Sigourney Weaver and other stars come to the opening and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Big deal.
It was a big deal at the time.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting. I feel like you're comparing it to like Star Trek Experience, which sounds like in that one, you're just kind of like walking around and like you could go to Cork's Bar or something. And this is like haunted house vibes.
Yeah.
Getting chased by creatures.
Yeah. I mean, there is like a part in the Star Trek Experience, I think, where the Borg show up.
Oh,
And they
yeah, there's
pull
a battle part.
somebody out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah, they
But
do
you're
that.
not really, even then, you're not really like running away. Like I distinctly remember running away from a xenomorph.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I'll take a million Borg over a xenomorph. Yeah.
Yeah. Assimilate me.
Easiest choice ever.
Yeah. And then the other thing you sent me, Shiromi, ties into your geek card question quite a bit. You were into the Alien board games, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I actually didn't know. I mean, I'm sure that there's board games of everything, but I don't know anything about the board games. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So there's a few of them. And I think I've played possibly all of them. The original one is, I don't know how much it sells for now, but it came out in 1989. And that one I played on a computer, a digitized version, and that was very hard. Which it's supposed to be, though. You want it to be hard. I never could make it to the end sequence. I think it was like told in like 3 sequences, and I never could make it to the end sequence. Then later there was an unofficial Aliens card game, which so one side, it was a 2-player game where one side was the aliens and one side was colonial marines. It was a really good game. It was a little unbalanced. Like there were certain cards, if you got this, then you were definitely, the aliens were definitely going to wipe you out. But it was a very good game, and the game designer has gone on to do, there's this, I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Gloomhaven. It's giant.
Yes, I play Gloomhaven like regularly. I love Gloomhaven.
It's huge. Well,
Yeah.
he's put out a game with the blessing of the designer that's just basically pocket Gloomhaven. It's a Gloomhaven card game.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. I gotta tell my friends who I play with if they have that. That's so cool. Yeah, Gloomhaven's like a multi-brick thing. Like it's a giant box that's just like heavy with the tons of stuff, but it's great.
Yeah.
That told me nothing. I might know less than when you started describing it.
I can be helpful. Yeah.
But but now there's been like a spat of like official Alien games. Fate of the Nostromo is the one for Alien. It's a pretty simplified. It's pretty simplified as far as board games go. It's definitely something that you could introduce a newer player to, but it's a cooperative game. Doesn't mean it's not hard. It's still depending on what your objective is. It can be pretty hard, but yeah. So I think we've gone 50-50 as far as winning and losing those. Another glorious day in the core is the big one. It's and by big I mean it's got tons of figures. I'm still painting them. The ones that I have, I've only painted like 5 of them. I really need to get better about painting them. Mostly I got them for the figures. I 100% admit that. So I played it 3-player, and it was, I think, as a 3-player game, currently it's way too easy because of certain cards that you get every turn that are supposed to do bad things. The amount of cards you get, I think with 2 and 4 players, you end up with 4 cards, whereas with 3 players, it's a total of 3 cards. So we ended up we only lost 1 Marine. We only lost Wisbowski, and that's because we needed to have somebody to draw off the aliens. So we were like, all right, let's send Wisbowski out there. And obviously, if you're playing an aliens game, you expect that there's going to be more deaths. But I have heard, so they've reworked the rules. So I think they're fixing that, and hopefully the rules are a little less clunky too. And what I'm most excited about, because again, I'm in it for the figures. the original game and the expansions had all the main colonial marines, but they didn't have Pharaoh or Spunkmeyer, or a dropship for that matter.
The pilots,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this expansion is introducing the dropship and the pilots. So now I get to have a complete
complete set.
A complete set. Yes, finally.
Do you keep them in like the box, or do you like display them?
Oh no, they're definitely for display.
Okay, of course. Okay, good. That's what I was thinking, but just to make sure.
And then the other Alien game that's out there is another. It's a smaller game, but I really like it. It's Alien Bug Hunt, and it's actually more of an Aliens game. It's not nearly as fancy as Another Glorious Day in the Core. They don't use figures; they use dice, but it's really difficult. It's a cooperative game, and your Marines with your squads going out across the board trying to get these little objective markers while keeping the aliens from either killing your team or escaping off the board. So I really like that one. It's also it's a pretty short game, so it's easy to just break out. And then I will mention another game, which is a unofficial Alien game, but it doesn't get enough love. Everybody always talks about Nemesis, and which I love, but there's a game called Lifeform, which is, if you think about Lifeform being just the second half of Alien. So right now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to just gather up a bunch of supplies and get off the ship before the alien gets you, and the ship explodes.
Oh, interesting.
Simple.
Yeah. So there's a timer, and there's a cat. You can actually, if your characters die, you can come back as either the cat or the android.
Okay, yeah, it definitely ties in. I see it.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with cat.
Yeah, I can see cat.
Yeah.
I like it. I got it pulled up right now. I'm looking at too. All these sound so fun. I haven't played the board games at all, but we do like board games quite a bit. We play other ones, so I gotta get those in the rotation.
Yeah, you've given Joe a lot to dig into.
I've got a bunch of tabs open now.
Well, then my job is complete.
Yeah, he's never been happier.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I suppose we shouldn't take too much more of your time. But I think before we wrap it up, we have our final segment of the show, Khalid. I feel like we didn't do it last time, did we? We did do it last time.
We did. It was like a 2-part thing. That's why.
That's right. Yeah. It's our What the Fandom segment. And Shiromi, I don't think I sent you this because I always forget to send the people about the What the Fandom. But it's just where we go around and share one thing, maybe two, something that you're just into at the moment, watching, reading, listening to, what have you, that may or may not have anything to do with monsters or Alien for that matter. Just something that you're kind of digging at the moment. And I'll let you go last, and Khalid and I will go first. So Khalid, how about What the Fandom with you this week?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week is going to be the HBO series Project Greenlight. It's like a reality competition for filmmakers, essentially. And they had a few seasons years ago, so it might sound familiar to listeners. Initially, I think it was like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Like it was like guys like that were like kind of the celebrity faces behind it, and they'd made a few different projects through it. And it was pretty entertaining, but they've kind of done like a reboot with it now, and it's being run by Issa Rae's company, Hooray, and then Kumail Nanjiani is also going to be a mentor on it. And they actually went a step further in terms of like the pool of contestants. So instead of just having it be anybody can apply, they realized that in all of the seasons of Project Greenlight up until now, that it was only ever male winners. So they decided to counteract that, and it's an entire selection of female applicants for Project Greenlight. And by the end of the first episode, you find out which of them is going to get to go on and make the movie for the rest of the season. I've only watched the first episode as of this recording, but it's really interesting. I appreciate what they're doing in terms of like representation and giving opportunities to people that maybe would have been overlooked in the past. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Issa Rae as a creator. So if she's behind this, I'm super curious to see like, you know, production wise, like the step-by-step process of like what makes you as a creator more appealing than someone else potentially. So yeah, that'll be my What the Fandom this week. And Joe, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I Nicole and I just watched a movie the other night called I think I was texting you about this, Vengeance, which is going to be mine. It's a movie that came out I think 2022, but it's a BJ Novak wrote and directed. I think it's his first take on writing and directing a film, but it's kind of about a guy from New York who goes down to Texas for the funeral of a girl that he didn't know, but their family believed that they were really close boyfriend and girlfriend. And so they invite him down, and it's like typical kind of shenanigans there too. But he decides to make a podcast investigating what the brother of the girl believes to be is a murder. And he's making into this like American Public Radio kind of style podcast of it. And so it's very interesting. It sounds like the setup for like a really silly movie, but it's very funny. But there are some really like interesting commentaries on just like social media culture and the way that we interact with media, way we interact with people and think about people. And I was surprised how surprisingly like deep it got, or like poignant it got at times. And so I would recommend that. I think we watched it on Prime is where we found it, and it should be, if you have Prime membership, it should be available. But that was a good movie. I'm realizing that one thing I'm really enjoying in terms of movies is like kind of comedians getting this chance to write or direct a film, like usually like independently produced somewhere, and somebody who you might have only seen before doing like a comedic role, like in The Office with BJ Novak, or I was thinking like Gerard Carmichael did his movie recently too, like them getting the chance to just kind of express their voice, like having some really cool and interesting, unique things to say. So I'm here for the trend of comedians getting the chance to write and direct their own films. Yes, more of that, please. Anyway, so that'll be mine this week. Shiromi, what the fandom with you?
Oh, thank you for asking. Okay, so since I have been on a bit of a break with anime while I'm waiting for my dubs, I've been watching a lot of English comedy. And I recently binged the UK version of Ghosts, which is on Max. And if you are remotely familiar with Horrible Histories or another show called Yonderland, it's basically created by this group of comedians that have been working together for 15 or 20 years now. So they have a really, really great rapport as it is. And basically it's about this couple who inherit this house that happens to be haunted. There's some really wacky characters. I mean, it's wacky, but also, but it can also be dark, which I guess is kind of my thing. But they also put a lot of thought into the things that they do. Like they have a Neanderthal in there, but he's been around for thousands of years, so he's intelligent. He plays chess and everything, but his speech pattern is a specific way still, because he doesn't physically have the capability for human speech the way we do. Things like that. It's so there's also a US version of it that I haven't checked out yet, but definitely if you get a chance to check out the UK version of Ghost, it's very, very funny.
That sounds fun.
I've seen the UK version and the American version, and they're both amazing. It's such a great idea for a sitcom. It really reminds me of like those like old school sitcoms, like I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched almost, you know, where it's like this like high concept idea, and then like every episode is more or less like sitcom fare and like the usual tropes that you would see in like a more grounded story, but now there's ghosts involved.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's really great. Yeah, I definitely co-sign that. I've actually seen Vengeance too, so I can on the record say that both of those What the Fandoms are A+ high quality recommendations.
Awesome. Thanks, Khalid. All right. So to wrap everything out, Shiromi, is there like any place you want people to find you? I know I'll link to your website. Any social media of any sort?
Yeah, I am on Instagram as Shiromi.Arserio. I can remember if it's one word or with a dot. And I'm also on TikTok as Shiromi Arserio. And those are probably the two places most likely to find me.
Okay. And then, of course, listen to your audiobooks.
And, of course, listen to my audiobooks.
Yes.
Or read.
Or
it's
read.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not anti-reading.
I am not
Let's make that clear. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this was super fun to chat with you. It's really enlightening to learn a lot about the behind the scenes stuff with just creating these books, and just to kind of geek out about Alien in general. We've dug into all the films at this point, so just looking at it from a different angle was really fun. And I've been enjoying listening to your audio narrations of the books, and I'll say for sure that I know maybe you can't say anything, but I really hope that you're going to continue down this road, and there's some continuity there, and we'll see more of you in the next books that are coming out too.
Nothing yet, but I will take whatever they throw at me.
Yes.
If they want to offer me another one, I will happily. I thought Into Charybdis was it, and I was fine with that. So we'll see.
Well, they come back to you a few times, so I think the fans would love it.
Fan fave at this point, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, just everything that Joe said and then some. Thank you so much, Shiromi. This was such an amazing discussion. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening to us as well. And until next time, creep it easy.